Hi again, everyone. Welcome to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. This week, I'm joined with Matt Morgan. Unfortunately, Vince Russo could not join us here tonight. His mother passed away, and we'd like to offer our condolences to Vince and extend our condolences and our thoughts. So hopefully Vince Vince's okay, and he'll be back soon, but really sad news. And it's a weird transition, but going from that, we had WWE Hell in a Cell. These pay-per-views feel like they're coming every week now. But here we go. We had another one. I thought this one was pretty good. Matt, what were your thoughts?
I liked it. I loved it. I did not like this. Well, I guess at first when I saw Owens and Rollins so early, and same, with the other Hell in a Cell match, I was like, what the freak are these guys doing?
Yeah.
They're battling Sunday Night Football, I'm thinking maybe. Is that what their concern is? But this is what it ended up being. They obviously did it on purpose to sandwich two not garbage matches, but lesser matches to build up the main event of the girls. That's the only way I could see it. Did no services to the Cruiserweight division, but or the tag division for that matter, but
Yeah, pretty much any division other than
right.
At least the women's. But
I enjoyed the pay-per-view. Even Sheamus and Cesaro tagging together finally. I actually enjoyed it tonight.
Yeah. I thought it was a good pay-per-view, but and we had a couple title changes. One was a major one, the other one not so much. But let's start off the kickoff show. Sin Cara, Lince Dorado, and Cedric Alexander defeated Arya Daivari, Tony Nese, and Drew Gulak. Cedric got the win, pinning Gulak in the lumbar check. Obviously, WWE has plans for Cedric. I think he's probably next in line for Kendrick. I think TJ Perkins, it doesn't seem as worked out like they hoped.
He got an epic opportunity. He really did. He got a golden opportunity and I feel bad for him because I know the kid isn't watching the show, but I know I can't be the only one telling him, listen, dude, you need to go to these writers and you need to tell them this is what I'm about. And if they don't respond, you go out and you seize that moment. I guarantee you Brian Kendrick would not do the same thing. If he was writing some garbage, Brian would try to fight it all day. And then when given the live mic, would do whatever the hell he wants to do to get his persona over.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get to that coming up here in a bit. The show opened up. I felt like we'll get to that in a minute too. But the show opened up with Roman Reigns versus Rusev for the U.S. title. A long match in the cell. Reigns defeated Rusev with the spear. Your thoughts on this match?
I thought it was a good match. I enjoyed the match, and it was long. Holy crap, was that long? But they've got some very good chemistry between each other. And there was signs in the match where the crowd didn't absolutely hate Roman and want him to die. Throughout the match, there were some serious periods in there that I was surprised that the fans were semi-receptive to him at times.
Yeah.
But it was a good match, great chemistry, and friggin' Rusev continues to be a friggin' all-star.
Where do you go with Roman right now?
This level where he's at right now, he needs to chill here. And I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. He needs to be a friggin' turn heel. He needs to be a heel. That's what he needs to do.
But assuming that they're not going to, because if they haven't yet, I don't think it's
stick in this level, the Sami Zayn level, the I don't even know what to call, the mid card, a little bit above the mid card. But
I guess that's my question. Who do they really have right now?
I guarantee you, whenever it becomes brought out to us, we'll be like, "Oh man, of course, that makes sense." Like with Zayn and what's his name, the big dude. Come on, who's the big guy?
Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman, for instance. We're like, "Oh, who's gonna be next for Braun Strowman?" Same thing. I'll be like, "Oh, okay, that's a good match."
Yeah.
Hey, were they on tonight at all? Did I miss that?
No, they weren't on tonight.
Okay.
I don't think Braun Strowman hasn't been on a pay-per-view since the brand split. And Sammy, it's been a while. But we'll see where they go. I kind of think they might be going to having Roman and Seth teaming up, because you have Seth being double teamed by Jericho and Owens, and the Shield, a mini Shield reunion, because Seth needs some help, I think, right now in the babyface role. They did a backstage promo with Kevin Owens. Next, we had Bayley defeating Dana Brooke. The fans were, they were into Bayley, but man, this was just a nothing match.
But it was good because it was almost a straightforward beatdown, in my opinion, and what it needed to be as far as Bayley going over strong. Like, it was like she kicked it into gear and really didn't have any real rough spots where I was really concerned about her losing or Dana getting too much crap in, if you will. And it was what it needed to be. She needed to run right through her, and she did.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that booking wise, it was good. And yeah, it did what it needed to do. Then we had a backstage segment with Mick Foley and Stephanie McMahon. I just, every time I see Foley and Stephanie, I think it just brings Foley down some.
Yeah, it does.
He just loses a little credibility, a little coolness, and some of his legendary aura.
If we're looking at that, I thought that jumped the shark a couple years ago. No, seriously, I'm a friend of Mick. I love Mick. I just they just need him to let him do what he does and stay the hell out of his way. You don't try to write for Mick, and don't put him in these stupid scenarios.
Yeah. He Daniel Bryan lucked out with being on the show without Stephanie.
Yes.
And Chris Jericho threatened to add Mick Foley to the list again. The Jericho list stuff, it's been entertaining, but when that's your main event, kind of like in your main event, and that's your storyline, if you're getting new fans tuning in because Brock Lesnar is fighting, wrestling Goldberg, and they're tuning in, they haven't watched wrestling in a while, and they tune in and they're seeing grown ass men, hiding a list, and that's the big storyline. I don't think you're gonna hook them.
No.
Enzo and Cass, they were out next. Huge pop.
Over strong.
Yeah. I mean, that was gigantic. And, at a time with so few stars, I just feel like they should do more with these guys. But at the same time, the crowd did get quiet once the match started.
This is true, because that's the old saying that I remember when I was first started, Rip Rogers was a trainer of mine at WWE. Long story short, he always used to say when somebody had a lot of sizzle and no steak, he would say, and then the bell rings, boys. Meaning, if you can't go in the friggin', you have to be able to go in the ring. You've got to provide something in that ring, not move-wise, not moveset-wise, but a way to emotionally draw people in and make them invest in you. I will admit, today's crowd is a little bit harder. You know what I mean? Because the cat's been out of the bag for so many years. And each progressing year that goes by, that the cat's been out of the bag, that this is a work, does not work in our favor. We can do things to make them wonder, was that real though? But it's very hard to do nowadays. And therefore, it's harder to get people to emotionally invest because of that, in my opinion, versus other guys back in the day. I don't want to hear people say, oh, Ricky Morton was the best babyface of all time, and he had people screaming. Well, no shit, because people thought it was real. Right. Of course they did.
Yeah, that's true. But Enzo, I think it's also with his work, more than Big Cass. When Enzo's in there,
you're right.
He's just bad in the ring.
I don't get it. He should be nonstop in NXT or wherever the hell he needs to go. I did this when I was on SmackDown on my own accord because I knew I needed to get better. No one needed to tell me that. I'd go to OVW, I'd work their TV, I'd work their next day afterwards, and then I'd go back out on the road for the house shows for SmackDown again. I paid for that out of my own pocket because I needed to improve. This dude is in a huge spot. He's the little dog in the fight. He needs to be better than Cass. Cass can't be the better worker between the two. Yeah. And he is. So he needs to be doing whatever he needs to do to improve. Like constantly, he needs to be in that damn ring because you're absolutely right. It sticks out too much now.
Yeah. Well, what were your thoughts on the match?
Oh, I was happy with the outcome. Very happy with the finish. Very happy with it. And I'm a Kaz and Enzo fan, don't get me wrong, but our guys have been buried too much, and they needed a friggin' win badly. They really did. I liked Enzo needs to be careful. He's hilarious. He is lethal on the mic, but he needs to be careful with how much he buries those heels. Those are two badass heels. There's a way to be witty and funny, especially when you have the freedom like this kid has on the mic. You don't have to bury them that much, calling them, what was it, Andy and Big Gal and yada, yada, yada. Then you make them look like corny Keystone Cop heels that are like, hey, don't chant Big Gal. Oh, I don't want to see that. I want to see two friggin' two not monsters, but two killers.
Yeah, I don't know if the ship has sailed on the two killers thing yet, but
that's what I see when I see them walk out, Raj.
I did too, until they get beat every week, for 3 months.
Yeah.
This. I agree. I thought Anderson and Gallows should have won. But at the same time, you had Gallows and Anderson pretty much get destroyed by Enzo and Cass over the past 2 weeks on Raw, or at least Gallows got destroyed by Big Cass. Enzo beat Anderson. Now Gallows and Anderson beat them.
They had Gallows lose in a singles. How did I miss that?
Yeah, on Raw last week, it was Enzo beat. Was it? Or was it a tag match?
No, they would save that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Enzo and Anderson, and Big Cass hit Anderson with the big boot, and
but not Gallows. They would save that.
Oh, right. Sorry, yeah, I meant Anderson.
All right, good.
But yeah, so you had them win a couple weeks. They win. I just feel like no one really gets over. They're kind of all in the same spot.
Yep. We're repeating ourselves week after week. Do you realize that?
You know why? Because if I go through, the same thing. The people that lose on Raw, win on the pay-per-view, and vice versa. And you just saw that here tonight. You saw Enzo and Big Cass. They lost on Raw. Gallows and Anderson lost on Raw, and then they're winning tonight.
Right.
And then same thing with Owens and Rollins, which we'll get to next. Where do you go with Gallows and Anderson now? You don't have any other tag teams. They've kind of done the New Day thing. So
they're not done. This feud's not done.
Yeah.
This feud's definitely not done. This was no feud breaker kind of match. I didn't see it as that, at least. There's no way they're going to let them. Well, maybe I'm wrong.
It was such a clean finish, though.
No. They love Big Cass way too much. They love Enzo too much. No way.
Yeah. So we had Kevin Owens defending the WWE Universal Championship against Seth Rollins.
I was heated. I will admit I was pissed that it was on at this part of the night. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So this second pay-per-view in a row where the WWE title match, whether it's the Universal or the World Heavyweight Championship, is not in the main event spot, and probably going to happen again at Survivor Series. I mean, that one makes more sense, but you're going to have Lesnar and Goldberg probably in that main event spot. So I don't know. I don't get it. And it kind of gives away the ending too whenever they do have the championship match in the middle of the show or the beginning. There's not going to be a title change then. And yeah, I don't know. I felt like they're not protecting this belt. They're not making it seem like something really special.
A brand new title at that. Okay, if there's ever a time to make this thing look important, okay, now is the time. It's a brand new title. It needs to be protected more than any other type of title because it is brand new. It was just introduced. And on top of it, we're putting on a guy that, not me, but haters out there will say, looks like the dude who takes out my trash. Do you know what I'm saying? So You have those things going against the situation. You definitely don't. Oh, man, they did not do him any favors. That pissed me off so much. That said, this was my match of the night. And I love the girls' match. But this was the match of the night. I know no one's going to tell me different.
I agree. And talking about Kevin Owens' title reign so far, you had Triple H help him win the title. Triple H isn't heard from again. That's the problem with WWE storytelling right now. And instead, you got Owens and Jericho with the list and Rollins stealing the list. And it's it's a schoolyard feud. Rollins is out. Nah, I've got your list. And that's not how you, in my opinion, that's not how you make a top babyface.
Oh my God, no. And here's reaction he got tonight. I know they're in Boston. Boston could be tough, but I always thought when Seth became a face, he'd be edgy. Yeah. He'd be a cool face to cheer for. I really thought that. But he's lost. I dare say he's lost the smart marks. I'm shocked at this, but it's not. It definitely, they haven't done him many favors. Like you said, the stupid list. Playing Ring Around the Rosie with the damn thing, and then all these stupid shenanigans. It just gets. Jim Cornette used to say, when I used to want to be on TV, when I first started at TNA and I was a bodyguard, and I'm like, dude, when are we going to drop this stupid bodyguard gimmick and get my ass in the ring? And he'd be like, listen, you don't want to get any on you right now, meaning the direction of the company at the time wasn't really that great, and meaning you don't want to get any SHIT on you. You don't want to be involved with anything that's crappy. When you do get involved with something, you want it to be good. Right now, Seth Rollins is getting SHIT all over him because of this stupid list business and what he's being encompassed around, having encompassed around him.
Yeah, and I've said it every week. I think the list stuff is entertaining to a point, but it shouldn't be a main event feud. Shouldn't be over that. It should be mid card, something for the show, and the main event should be just something heated and personal, and Triple H leaving, like I said, hurt it, and you are where we are, where Rollins just missing something as babyface, and it showed with this match, because at the beginning the crowd was really quiet. I mean, they got the crowd, but they were really quiet early on in this match.
Those two boys had to work their butts off. And they did, and they delivered a supreme main event match, in my opinion. That match was so outstanding, so good. The storytelling was great. And do you have any idea how many, I'm sure you do because you cover all these pay-per-views over these years, but do you have any idea all of the things that could have gone awry when introducing Jericho? As great as he is, none to his doing, I mean, by messing things up, but by people crapping on it, going, oh, here we go again, 2-on-1, this is sucky. They managed to make it entertaining, which is not easy to do.
Yeah. Owens accidentally used. I mean, it accidentally or not, who knows if it was, but he used the fire extinguisher on the ref, which was different. Yeah, you haven't seen that before, and they had to get that ref out. Cage door opens, Jericho runs in.
I took that on purpose. I saw that as him doing it on purpose.
Right, but making it look like an accident.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Right, yeah, his character. And then, Owens, he looked like he was going to hit a package pile driver from his Ring of Honor days at one point, but did a package power bomb instead. I mean, this match was just crazy for a while.
How about the back and forth with the super kicks?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Crap. I know, dudes don't sell anymore. You know what? I don't give a shit. That was dope. That reeled me in. I was like, holy, it sucked me in big time.
Yeah. And then Rollins going for that power bomb. When he went for that powerbomb on Owens at the end towards the through those two tables.
Oh,
for a second, I mean, he was having a tough time getting him up. For a second. It almost looked like he was doing a Styles clash with the way Owens was hanging there.
Anybody has ever attempted a powerbomb and done it more than once in a match, especially bigger guys, we have all been caught in this spot with either somebody that sandbags us, not on purpose or on purpose, or it just doesn't work out. We mistime it. I've done it with Hernandez before, where we mistimed him sitting up, and I should have just nutted him up instead of worrying about, relying on him so much, But we've all been in that spot, and we all shit our pants in that moment. The fact that it says a lot, because what's his name gets a lot of grief, and I just said it earlier about how he's not exactly a good-looking wrestler, his physique-wise, KO. It says a lot about how athletic, believe it or not, that SOB is, because upside down in that spot, with all the blood rushing to your head, it's so hard to pull a sit up in that spot, especially with a guy who's kind of smaller than you, weight wise. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he was able to do that was all KO. That was 100% KO. It was not Rollins muscling him up. That was impressive as hell.
Yeah.
He is athletic.
And then, I mean, they got that spot to work, and that was just crazy. I mean, that looked dangerous. Like the way Owens with his neck and everything on that table, I was legitimately worried about him for a second.
What about the fact that the way the angle it was? I don't know if you caught it, but here's the table, the one that was on the slant, right?
Yeah.
Or what it was. Look, there was like what do you call it right here? The metal stand for it.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason to what direction those fly in once we go through those tables.
Right.
Like that could have went right into his back. Oh my God, I was so scared for him.
Yeah, same here. I was just nervous after that. And then so they got back in the ring. Mm-hmm. I forgot what happened. Rollins, I forgot what Rollins hit, but he got the 3 count. Jericho pulled the ref right before 3. Then Rollins beat up Jericho for a little bit on the outside of the ring, got back in, ate a pop-up powerbomb, but kicked out. Yeah. And then Jericho and Owens set up 2 chairs, and Owens powerbombed him through the 2 chairs.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly. You see where he placed them to? He placed them so perfectly so that the chairs, God forbid, actually flipped open and broke.
Right.
So many times we screw that up and put the chairs too close, and it doesn't really give it the same effect, and the guy just eats it, and it hurts like hell. It hurts regardless. But you give it a little bit of that separation, and bam, the guy snaps right through it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was it was a hell of a match. Afterwards, they beat up Rollins, and Jericho left Rollins laying after a code breaker. So not only is he beat, he hasn't won a pay-per-view match since June. He gets laid out by the guy who was sad about his list being missing last Monday night.
we're getting all kind of mainstream fans after this one, folks. Invite your cousins over to watch this. I've never watched wrestling ever. They'll be so impressed with you.
Yeah. So it almost I didn't know if they were setting up Jericho and Rollins after that, because then they had Jericho's music playing to end it. And kind of take him out of the title picture, or like I was saying, maybe Roman Reigns and Rollins, Roman Reigns kind of stepping into, because Rollins keeps getting double teamed by these guys.
This is the epitome of getting it on you. If that's what happens, if they tag that albatross that is Roman Reigns, Seth is done. We'll never hear from him again. Like, as a babyface, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, he's heading in that direction with how the booking has been going, but his match has really saved him. And I thought this was Rollins' best match since he came back.
Did he? Yeah.
Because he had the match with Kevin Owens last month, but I already kind of can't remember that one, the Clash of Champions.
I'm yet to watch a bad match with him, to be honest with you.
Right.
Period. He's so good. He's so good.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, the comparisons to Shawn Michaels, if he could just get that character tweaked,
Roz, I'm sorry. And then like the little in between stuff, the difference between him and KO is this right here. This in between crap when like you can hear him on the outside berating Chris Jericho, and he's saying corny crap like, "You don't know who you're messing with." What? You would never say that. That's so tacky. In the 80s, and I've made that mistake. I've said corny crap like that too, but that's because the mic wasn't on. Nobody could hear me. I needed to do something to pantomime something that I was talking smack to my opponent, But I knew for sure no mic was picking it up. Like he just sounds corny. Like I don't want to cheer for that guy. And he's my favorite guy. He's my favorite wrestler. Him and KO both.
That's why I feel like they're writing for him and Roman Reigns the same with their lines and the stuff that they say. Roman Reigns would be someone that steals the list. Like it would be that kind of stuff.
Oh, he'd be all over that. He'd have a freaking heart. Yeah, he would love that.
Yeah. So up next, we had the Cruiserweight title match with TJ Perkins defending his title against Brian Kendrick. Mm-hmm. No pop for either guy.
Well, what do you expect?
It was even worse than that. I felt like you could hear individual conversations during this match. Ooh. Like people in the audience just chatting, and I can kind of tell what they're talking about.
Well, I will say this much. Congratulations, TBK. I am super proud of you, super stoked. Not that you're watching this, but hopefully you are. This dude deserved this. And finally, we'll have some lifeblood in this Cruiserweight division because it desperately needs an insertion of character. And if they do what we think and we hope they're going to do with Cedric, we're going to see some good characters finally.
Yeah, I felt like the match itself, I thought was really good.
It was a great match.
If you put this on an NXT Takeover show, it probably would have stolen the show, And if you just dubbed in crowd noise, it would have been a lot better. But with this, the highlight. Did you hear that fan when they were like fighting near the barricades, and this fan goes, "Get a effing haircut, hippie," but using the whole F word to Brian Kendrick, and then going, "And Nike sucks." Did you miss that? It was like really loud. It like sounded like it was on commentary for a second. Yeah, the mics picked that up. That was pretty funny. Mm-hmm. But the end, Kendrick faked a leg injury. TJ Perkins and the referee were the only people that were buying it.
It was too long.
Yeah, and they had Perkins look like an idiot. Yeah, Kendrick suckered him with the headbutt, hit his finisher. Perkins tapped. And what little pop there wasn't at all for this match was right there when he beat him. And
Brian got a respect pop is what he got.
Yeah, but even that, it was really mild. I've never seen a crowd care that little for a title change on the pay-per-view. Hopefully, Kendrick can take it to another level, and hopefully they have Cedric Alexander, because Cedric Alexander seems like he looks like a legit guy. Not like a game playing kid.
Yeah.
No offense to TJ Perkins, because I think Perkins is great in the ring.
Yeah, he is. And I guarantee you, Brian, if TJ had his, I don't know how many times we could say, I wish I could reach out and talk to the other kid. I've said it week after week. Step up. Not in the ring. Go to these writers and talk to Vince, somebody, and cut this crap out.
Now, let me ask you this. When you had the stuttering gimmick, Did that ever cross your mind? Like, I got to go and talk to Vince.
You don't listen to me, Raj, obviously, when I tell this story. This was Vince McMahon's idea.
No, I know. But when you're saying go and talk to Vince, what if the whole...
the entire time, I was always in his office.
Yeah.
The entire time. And not even by my own will. Like, sometimes it was literally just for him to come, just to shoot the crap about what I'm doing that night. And he would, like I said, stand behind the camera when I do all my pre-tapes. And this was his baby. It really was. So it was back when I was so young. And that's why I'm telling TJ now to, like, if you can go back in time and be able to say something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be a 50-50 toss because Vince didn't come up with characters then. The last one he'd come up with at that point was Carlito, actually, that he was emotionally invested in and designed on his own. I was the next one, and that was it. Vince really doesn't do that anymore. I know, actually, he doesn't. So that said, if something his baby is his baby, he's gonna push it. So it's like, all right, do I make the best of the shitty crap this situation and know that this, this dude's a billionaire genius and I'm gonna get a good push out of this, and just shut up and do go through the test that you're going through, or do you speak up? Now that I'm older, obviously, I definitely would have, spoke up. I did originally by telling them, look, you realize I have a degree in communication, right? I graduated the third of my class. Talking is actually my strong suit. Do we think by mocking, like how other people talk and whatnot's going to work? They're going to know I don't stutter. They know this. We're insulting them, no? And he was just like, he goes, I tell them what to think. And I'm telling you right now, they're not going to care. I'm like, okay.
Not to digress real quick, but when you think of the most legendary characters in pro wrestling history, right? You think of Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Randy Savage, Roddy Piper. Those weren't like characters that Vince really created. You know what I mean? Like those, Are you kidding me?
Hulk Hogan, he freaking manufactured.
No, but Hogan was that guy. He just promoted that. He didn't, you know what I mean? Like,
did you see Hulk before he became Hulk? Like, do you see how cheesy he was?
But in the AWA, he was doing the cupping, the posing after the matches and cupping his ear. I mean, obviously he took Hulk Hogan to a whole nother level, but he did not like come up with the name and give him the like, this is what you're going to, like he does with like a Henry Godwin or something like that, where it's a gimmick that he came up with. And the stuttering thing. I'm just, I don't know. I just think like some of the most, the biggest names weren't necessarily things that he.
Sure, because the ones that really hit it have some cheesy crap like my stuttering character first. And then they earn the trust or whatever you want to call it of the company to where they're comfortable to go out and they know who they are now. And once they know who they are, they start to express that in the ring and on the mic, and it starts to get over. And then finally, before you know it, it's fucking 316 that says, I just whipped your ass, and voila. It literally happens like that. And I just wasn't afforded that opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
The TNA, it came out, but not with WWE.
Yeah. I just think he does better when it's these guys that have their own, their own personalities, and Vince takes that to another level, like Piper, Savage, things like that, as opposed to when he's giving someone a character. And Undertaker is the one real exception I could think
Razor Ramon. No, did Scott come up with that? Was that Vince?
No, but I felt like he became a bigger star once he went to WCW with the NWO and with Scott Hall. But you're right, Scott. Razor Ramon was definitely a success.
But as an example, to your point, once he became himself, it was even more over.
Yeah, he was kind of a upper mid card guy before that in WWF, and he never headlined a pay-per-view, and then he was a main event dude.
Right.
Anyway, we digressed. So we had,
they love it. They love hearing this, by the way. Watch, we'll get questions about it, but go ahead.
Right. Yeah. We had the New Day defending the tag team championship against Sheamus and Cesaro. Mm-hmm. Chris, who handles our Twitter coverage, noted that Kofi avoided the obligatory hometown loss by not being in the actual match. So, that was smart for him. Cesaro had Xavier in a sharpshooter, but Kofi hit Sheamus with the Thunder in Paradise outside the ring, which caused the New Day to get disqualified. Almost felt like they were almost turning New Day heel with that finish,
Yep.
They just looked weak. But it was to further, this whole thing was to further along the Sheamus and Cesaro thing. But what were your thoughts?
I finally, taken my first step on the bus that is Sheamus and Cesaro. I'm just 1 foot in the door right now, by the way. I'm not taking I haven't even walked down the hall and taken my seat yet, but I will admit with tonight's, I liked it. I did. I just think they've got to stop making Cesaro try to be funny and witty and he's at his best when you let him talk about how passionate he is about what he does. Just let him do that because no one else does it on the show, and just shut up and get out of his way. If he has to talk.
Right.
That's it. But I will say this. What will happen from this, Raj, down the line, and any fans of Cesaro out there, this will improve him. Like my stuttering character, believe it or not, did improve me. If you're able to go out and do something that you're not really comfortable doing, you get twice as confident when you finally get an opportunity that you're begging to get to be yourself, right? And when I finally hit TNA, it was all systems go, and I was never more comfortable. I would not have been able to do that had I not had the repetitions of doing something I was so incredibly uncomfortable doing. So Cesaro doing this comedy shtick is not his strong suit, right? But he's going to add a new layer to his persona when he does finally become who he becomes as this main star that I know he could be. And he'll have that opportunity to go to that layer when need be down the road. You know what I mean? The humor, the comedy, the witty guy kind of thing. It will play a part down the road for him now that he's had these reps.
Yeah. Someone pointing out in the comment section that it was actually Scott Hall and DDP that created Razor Ramon, which actually that is a good point because
Diamond
Razor
Stud
was the Diamond Stud, and then it was Razor that came up with the Scarface gimmick, and then Vince.
Yes, he went to Vince's office and told him about it. So yep. Did Al Pacino thing on it. Yep.
Yeah, so this is obviously going to continue, and it had to. They really don't have anything else for New Day, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see Survivor Series. They're probably not going to have that many title matches. I'm guessing New Day and Sheamus and Cesaro might be in that tag match because there's just not enough teams to fill those rosters up. So
for Raw versus SmackDown.
Yeah. Oh no. To not have them in that match. Yeah, the Raw versus SmackDown 10 tag team match. So I'm guessing there won't be a tag team championship match at the Survivor Series. So it keeps it going to the December pay-per-view.
That might be good though.
I agree, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's no Kevin Owens title match at Survivor Series, and maybe they do AJ Styles. I don't know because they're running out of opponents on Raw and SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
They aired the Survivor Series promo. I don't think they showed this on SmackDown unless I missed it, but it had this promo with Brock Lesnar, and it was just gold. I thought it was Lesnar kind of doing his kind of same shtick. Doesn't care. He doesn't care about Goldberg's wife and kids, and if he has any advice, it's for them to stay home. This is the promo that should have been on Raw last week, not waiting for them to be chanting Goldberg, and having Brock getting upset about that,
or Brock being home and getting a crazy pop, and Goldberg being booed out of the building because they're in Minnesota.
Right. Yeah. So I thought this was what they should have had on Raw.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was money, and this Lesnar promo alone makes me want to see that match more than anything they've been trying to do in the rings. The Goldberg first promo and this are the two that are hopefully they don't try anything cute with Goldberg tomorrow night, because just letting them be themselves and letting those personalities clash is enough.
Yep.
They did a cool promo for Sasha Banks versus Charlotte before the match started, before the Hell in the Cell and everything dropped. It kind of showcased the history of women's wrestling in this montage, and which was really cool.
It was. And
then they did this really cool entrance for Charlotte, which it just made the main event seem big. And they did the same thing for Sasha. I think they did a similar entrance for Sasha at a takeover event, but it's still cool.
It was,
nonetheless.
Yep.
So this match, it started with them fighting outside the ring, taking it into the crowd, coming back to ringside. They got on the cage. While Sasha was coming down, Charlotte powerbombed her through a table. And this was the low point of this match for me was that she went through the table, and they did a stretcher job that it felt like it took 30 minutes. I mean, it was a long time that they took to get her on the stretcher.
Yes.
And they did this with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30, where Daniel Bryan, and he came and fought back, but I thought this went way too long. And then she went from being nearly paralyzed to completely fine 2 seconds later when she got off the stretcher. So.
Yeah. I will admit, I got hooked there for a second because I saw the time. It was like 10:50 something. I'm going, well, this is going to, wow, they're going to do this at her hometown in Boston. They're not even going to have the match. Wow. You know, but she got off, and she got off the thing and I stretched her, and I was stoked. I wanted to see what happened. And yeah, I mean, because I became a fan in that moment, I was, okay, I hope she grabs her back a couple times, at least sells the next something. But that said, I was as excited the match happened because I thought we were about to get totally hosed here. Yeah. I mean, what do you want to say? This was a good match, and the fans need to chill the freak out with certain, like, okay, so Charlotte, when she went through, and I'm jumping around here, but when Charlotte went through the table toward the end there, and it wasn't a perfect smash, it wasn't a perfect bump, it was a good bump, but she didn't go through the table. This is a 135-pound woman. Like,
you mean Sasha for the finish, or
no? When Charlotte went through, when Charlotte went through
on the outside,
table, when she was kicked off on the outside, it wasn't a perfect. The crowd crapped all over it. You know, they booed didn't you hear them? They booed them.
No, yeah, because I mean they were like, because they started off setting them up on the top, like looking like they were going to do a somersault or power bomb through the table, and what they ended up with was just this little kick, you know. Mm-hmm. So I thought, like, I could see why the crowd would have been disappointed, just because the way it looked like it was being set up, and what it ended up being was just a little kick through the table.
The girl still, went through the table, though. Like, we're talking about two girls for the first time doing this, and it comes down to weight. I knew they're going to have issues. Girls always have issues going through tables. Generally, you have to really hit the crap out of that table if you're going to weigh 135 pounds to make that table snap.
Yeah.
It's not always easy.
Yeah.
So I was just like, if I was there, and I was watching this as a fan, by the way, not as some analyst, not as some former wrestler, but as a fan, I didn't boo. I didn't think that deserved the boo. I just didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think there's a lot of weight on these girls' shoulders, because, when they talk about the women's revolution, these are really the only two that could do a Hell in the Cell match that I think the company would feel comfortable with. Yeah, go ahead, sir. No, go ahead.
There's so many things they did tonight that these other girls couldn't do. The monkey flip, are you kidding me? The monkey flip into the friggin' steel cage.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I can't even begin to tell you the risk of error in that, of her hitting it and coming straight down on her neck and breaking it. There's so many things they did in this match that I'm going, holy crap, they're gonna get hurt here.
I was like worried half the time.
Yeah, and I don't want to say to a point where it took me out of the match. It didn't take me out of the match, but as a fan, I was worried about my baby face. And Charlotte, not as much, because Charlotte, I know, is a good athlete, very athletic and whatnot. But, like, Sasha really impressed me tonight. Her offense was cool. The thing off the cage where, she was on the cage and hit the double knee thing. That was pretty cool. It wasn't crisp, but it looked better than it normally does, because she caught her in the face with the knee first and then went down on her. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
There's so many different things. Charlotte needs to take better care of her. Charlotte needs to stop just dumping her, like with the side slam she did. She just kind of dumped her on the outside.
It's like threw her outside. It's like,
yeah, little things like that. You gotta be careful. But like, these two trust each other's lives, and you could see it. Like, they're, in my opinion, they are epic. Those two girls are epic storytellers, guys or girls for that matter, on that roster. In that ring, they tell such incredible stories. Charlotte's facials are getting better. Sometimes they're like with a na hey goodbye crap. That's corny. That's cheesy. That was annoying. Let's go, Sasha. That's annoying. Not in a good heel way, but in a what are you doing? Stop doing that way. That said, her reactions are getting better, though. Her facials, when she won the title, you tell that the table spot was still in her head, that she didn't snap through it perfectly. I know her. But when she got the title and it was brought over to her, her facial expression just completely changed. Little things like that. Her facials are getting really good.
Yeah. The finish, you were talking about the women being smaller and not being able to break the table. Charlotte was trying to throw Sasha. I think she was supposed to go through it, right?
No, it wasn't set up for it. That's why I was like, what the frick is she because when you set the table on an actual turnbuckle, there's no way it can break. It needs to be on something sturdy on one end and on the other, at least one end for that thing to have a chance to snap. Being that was on a turnbuckle, the turnbuckles bounce. There was no way that was going to break. And because she hit natural selection the way she did, that told me that when it finally hit me, okay, she wasn't trying to throw her, it was just throwing her into the table, ragdolling her back and forth until she rolled down and made her eat it or finish her. Natural selection. You know what I mean? It was too perfect for me to sit there and go, okay, that was a screwed up spot. She didn't go through the table. She landed perfectly. She sat up perfectly, ate the finisher perfectly. It was too choreographed for me to think that she was supposed to go through that table.
Yeah. I thought the finish was weird in that they did kind of the same exact thing. Before SummerSlam, Sasha wins the title on Raw, never really has a title defense, and then loses it at the pay-per-view without really having a chance to hold it. And then again, here wins it on Raw, doesn't really do anything, and loses it on her first title, pay-per-view defense.
At home.
At home.
I know that shouldn't matter. Like, we're marks for ourselves if we're at home and we don't lose, brother. But still, like, there was something in the air tonight that everybody could feel.
You don't think it was an audible, like Sasha got hurt and they decided to change it up? Because something with the end of that match just didn't
You're right. You're absolutely right. I agree with that. The very finish was very choreographed, though. I'm wondering, and I'm surprised at this, because they're on the network, they can go over as long. There is no such thing as going over time, right? They can go on for 10 hours if they want to. I'm very surprised they didn't get buzzed to take another table out after that missed, spot with Charlotte not going through the table crisply, because the fans were dying to see somebody go through it, like really go through a table. They were dying for it. And I'm not saying you always need to listen to them, but this was a Hell in a Cell match, like there was some big thing, even though these girls killed themselves in there. I hate to say this because I love the match, but I was expecting a missed moonsault through a table, something like that from Charlotte. It was missing that one big thing. And I hate to say it because it makes me sound like I'm a mark for just big spots, and I'm not, but I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, she did that corkscrew moonsault on Raw, to the outside.
Oh, dude.
If she did that through a table, that would have been a hell of a finish to that match.
I mean, are we wrong for saying that? Like, this is everything I used to get pissed at fans for thinking. But now that I'm on the other side, I don't know.
I almost wonder if it was an audible, because it just doesn't make sense for Sasha to lose again this soon. So we'll see. We'll look into that. But
if that is what it was, wow, these girls are light years of any other girl I've ever seen in my life. Being able to pull that finish off like that.
Yeah.
If she was hurt or there was an audible called,
Right. Now, did you think it was a mistake to end this pay-per-view with this match, in the sense that if you're doing the first ever women's title match, maybe you should promote that it's going to headline the pay-per-view ahead of time as opposed to just throw it on last?
Formulaic wise, what history tells us wise, yeah. But now the network is the network. It's like,
hello?
Who cares? It's almost like they don't care. It seems like.
Right, but at least, make it a big deal ahead of time. You know what I mean?
I did. I'll be honest. I thought with Mick's promo last week, it was being put over as a very big deal. I really was. And I came into this pay-per-view thinking that the girls would have the match of the night. And I still think on any other occasion, this would have been match of the night. But I'm sorry, Seth and KO just crushed it out there.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I agree. I think in this case, Seth and Kevin Owens should have went on last.
Yes.
And if you're going to do Charlotte and Sasha, promote it ahead of time.
You should. Yeah.
It's a historic thing. So say it.
Wait, how many times have they headline pay-per-views with the girls? Is this how many times?
No, this is the first time
in history.
In history, yeah, in WWE.
There's never been a female match to headline a pay-per-view.
Nope.
Didn't the girls do it before? Am I imagining this?
No, they did. Back in the 80s, they had like a MTV show where they had that Hulk Hogan,
the Rock and Wrestling.
the Rock and Wrestling that was headlined by Wendy Richter. But never a pay-per-view. So
really,
yeah. And Matt, just a heads up, we lost your video, but we can see fine.
You can't see me?
No. So I'll just have to flex in your place.
This sucks.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, this was the first ever. So why wouldn't you promote that as being the first ever?
Yeah, you're right.
But besides the point, overall, with the pay-per-view, how would you rate it?
On a scale of 10?
Yeah.
Definitely a 8.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was, the matches that weren't great were what they were supposed to be. The matches with no heat were still, I thought TJ Perkins, it was still really good. And yeah, I'll agree with that. So where do you think they go with Charlotte and Sasha? You think
keep going back and forth?
Yeah, because there's really no one else. I mean, Nia Jax, it seems like it's too soon.
Yeah, it is.
And without her, who else do you got?
As long as these keep, I love watching their matches. I'm very entertained by them. It's the whole promos and setups to it that I'm not a big fan of. But once they get in the ring, I love it. Yeah.
Well, great. So we got a few other items to talk about. TNA, the judge is going to rule whether to grant Billy Corgan a temporary injunction against the company. If he does that, I mean, it could kind of kill the company, I guess, or lead them to something being brokered where Corgan takes control. What are your thoughts on what it's kind of come down to, and have you kind of paid attention to what's come out?
A little bit. It's sad, so I kind of try not to. But let me understand this though. If Billy, to my understanding, doesn't Billy want to take over the company? Doesn't he want to have his own show and whatnot?
This was the weird thing because he said when he lent the money.
Right.
That he wouldn't have lent the money if he would have known how much in debt they are.
Right.
And now he knows how much in debt they are,
right.
But he still wants it because they're willing to repay him, minus this, I'm forgetting what they call it, but this like interest, this like processing fee that's like, I'm forgetting the percentage, but it's pretty high percent. It adds on like $1 million or something to the loan. But it seems odd that he'd want to buy it now with all this new stuff that's come out, with how much more in debt they are than he thought they were originally.
So if that said, why not just why not shake-hand the case? Why would he keep going after it then?
Because it seems like he wants it. I mean, he wants to take control. And honestly, I hope so. Personally, for the future of the company, I think that's the best thing is him taking over, because Anthem, if they take over, they're planning to do 3 to 4 tapings next year.
Who's Anthem?
They own the Fight Network, so they're the company that were willing to buy Billy Corgan out. Gotcha. They funded TNA's last set of tapings, Bound for Glory, and so they're kind of who it would go to if it doesn't go to Billy Corgan.
Okay, gotcha. It's sad. It's very sad.
Yeah, and their plan is 3 to 4 tapings next year. So, and that's it. 3 to 4 television tapings and nothing else. And so if that's their plan, that's going to keep TNA where they're at now. You know what I mean?
3 to 4 tapings, like just 4 episodes?
No, where they do a week of tapings.
Oh yeah.
So they do 4, or I think it's 4 weeks of tapings, throughout the year. And then that content would basically be used for a quarter. So each taping would be like 3 months worth of material.
Wow. Man, I don't get it. We had such, I say we because I still, consider that company my, a lot of those people that run it, Dixie included, family. And to see this is crappy because I'm sorry, I'll put that roster in end of 2007. maybe 2008, to 2010 against WWE all day and day. And we smoked them week after week as far as what was better in that ring and on that show. Seriously, I'm not just saying that because I'm playing, hometown favorite crap because I worked for TNA. Go back and watch their stuff on YouTube or whatnot. We had a better roster. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a shame seeing them where they're at now, and I just don't see a way forward unless unless things change. So tomorrow's ruling is a big one. So we'll see where it goes from there. Matt, that's really all we got this week. It's news-wise outside of TNA. There's not a whole lot going on.
There should be news. Here's the news, my non-friend Raj.
All right.
Your boy here got second place in his men's masters division physique competition. How about that?
Nice.
That is newsworthy headline. That's headline news right there. Okay?
All right. Well, congrats to Matt Morgan for that. This month should start getting crazy. We got NXT Takeover. Goldberg's back. He's going to be on Raw Monday night. Lesnar leading to Goldberg versus Lesnar. Who knows if it'll be a one-off? It's meant to, but if the fans take to Goldberg and that match is a hit, I could easily see them wanting him for more.
They'll pull Mania out of him. That'll be about. I don't think they'll do anything else.
Yeah.
They'll build a Mania match.
Yeah, I kind of see kind of like a Sting kind of thing where it's a couple more matches and that's it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be cool. I just feel like this match is a Mania match.
Oh my God, yeah, big time, big time.
Yeah. But if they were doing this now, there's like no other matches right now really to be excited about.
Well, here's one thing I want to make before we go. One point I want to make. Okay, granted, Kevin Owens' match, whoever he's working, is not going to surpass Brock versus Goldberg as far as not fan interest, but mainstream media interest goes. That said, you want an opportunity to really make somebody look bigger than they really are, like a bigger star than they really are. The old way of thinking would be you still have him work the main event on top of Goldberg and Brock and make him appear like a champion, make him feel like something big.
Yeah,
like that'd be a very big statement that he's closing the show, which he should because he's the champion. And the championship belt still means something. It still is the top headline show, a match of every show because it's the title. Like, what a great opportunity to make it mean something over Brock and Goldberg. That's huge.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this then.
They won't do it.
If you were to close with have a title match go on after Brock versus Goldberg, would it be a Kevin Owens title match or AJ Styles? Like, which one gets that spot?
Ooh, God. That's when we picked my two favorite kids. AJ, because he's a little more exciting in the ring. I hate to say, maybe.
Yeah. The only thing with AJ is I don't know who you'd put him up against. They've done Ambrose already like 100 times.
It'll be good. This would be a great opportunity for Cena to be here. I can't believe I'm saying that. Cena and AJ could do it.
Cena, they just removed Cena from Survivor Series advertising today. Cena's out till Christmas.
I'm telling you, Cena and AJ could do it though.
And they could, yeah, that would be. But with what they got now, they got James Ellsworth, AJ Styles, and Dean Ambrose.
Hot garbage that crap is. No, it'd be good if they didn't do this stupid interbrand or this brand extension crap. Would have been Rollins versus AJ. I would pay so much to watch that match.
Oh man, that's like
KO versus AJ. I'd pay to watch that match.
Oh yeah, those are like those are. I wouldn't say dream matches, but
they're getting there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially Rollins.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Me and Matt will be back tomorrow night for our post-Raw review. Glenn is out this week. He is at the theater in New York, and I'm sure he's Hey, man, the theater.
You cannot defend this or rationalize this. I had to hear him say this last week, and I'm such a nice guy. I didn't have the whatever you want to call it to be like, are you kidding me? The theater? Really? The theater? Don't tell people that.
Yeah. Well, hey, some people it's their thing. Others, for me, it's football and wrestling and MMA.
There you go. Now you're talking.
But we'll see you tomorrow. Glenn, we were preempting the Wednesday edition of the podcast, but that'll be back the next week. But we'll be back on tomorrow night. So join us again. Until then, have a good night.